Good morning, everyone. My name is Hugo A. Villegas. I have a postdoctoral certificate in strategy and innovation from MIT, a PhD in financial management from North Central University, and a master's in applied economics from the University of Cincinnati. Thank you for trusting in my credentials enough to invite me to share economics on burritos with this distinguished audience where the spirit of public service and volunteerism shine. I have had the pleasure of studying your city because it is my duty to teach my students about their community. My employer, Colorado Technical University, requires me to keep my analytical skills current, innovative, and at the service of the communities where we have a presence. During this time, I would like to expose you to a simpler, practical, yet different way of looking at regional economics. There is enough evidence to suggest that Aurora is a bedroom community with stable property values and high multiplier effect. The economic direction provided by the Chamber of Commerce is to add boardrooms to a bedroom community. Boardroom communities also have stable property values and high multiplier effects. By now you must be asking, what is a multiplier? And to answer that question, let's measure Aurora's multiplier. It is a measurement of the number of times that money changes hands in Aurora. For example, let's take a bag of grapes that depart California with a value of 2. When it reaches Walmart in Aurora, the value of the same bag changes to 3, creating a value of 1, which is also called a store markup. One important characteristic about money is that money creates money every time a product or service is sold. Every time a product or service is sold in Aurora, it creates a sales tax revenues of only 8.5%. So the question becomes, where is the rest of the money? To answer that question, let's imagine for a moment that Aurora is the only city left standing in the world. The world has disappeared. Then it becomes the obligation of the city of Aurora to provide its citizens with enough currency to where they can buy and sell the products that they need. And they do this by spending. Their budget is more than $250 million. This is called Aurora's monetary baseline. All the money that circulates in Aurora is approximately $3 billion. That is called Aurora's total money supply. Aurora's multiplier is 6.35 times. That means that every time a dollar changes hands in Aurora, it creates 6 other exchanges, but only the sale of certain products create tax revenues. Then the question becomes, which exchanges create sales tax revenues? Generally, the sale of experienced goods creates sales tax revenues. The best example I can give of an experienced good is that good-looking hamburger that in order to taste, we had to buy it first. Has it ever happened to you that you went to the dentist, had to pay first, and then found out he was the wrong dentist? Well, any tangible or digital product and service that must be purchased before the consumer can assess its value is an experienced good. For example, games is another experienced good, and so is higher education. In boardroom and bedroom communities, we find retailers, restaurateurs, transportation, personal services, rental property, and entertainment. These are experienced goods with the highest multipliers, and they're common to both communities. Therefore, one of the goals of a bedroom and boardroom community is to sponsor events that bring spenders to Aurora. According to the Chamber of Commerce, neighborhood weekend sports events bring between 1 and 4 spenders to Aurora with little human conflict, requiring limited participation of police. It is evident that as population increases in a community, so does the frequency of human conflict. For this reason, a bedroom boardroom community requires strong law enforcement, effective fire prevention capabilities, and the rule of law. It is also evident that Aurora houses many high-tech military assets that create a demand for highly specialized police services. In addition, high-rise buildings and the frequency of forest fires in neighboring communities also create a demand for specialized firefighting equipment and well-trained manpower. These are realities of the city of Aurora that require well-trained administrators of justice capable of serving as negotiators with the federal government and the Pentagon. Unfortunately, violence and crime will continue to be a part of America, and Aurora is no exception. Therefore, Aurora's reputation needs to be built on how well police, fire, and the administrators of justice handle challenging events. Fire prevention, law enforcement, and the administration of justice are mandatory and important services for any community. However, for Aurora, it is important to note that these are also significant in the wealth creation process of the community. Consequently, it is important to showcase the work of Aurora's police, fire, and justice. There are some examples of what not to do and what to do. First, let's look at the examples of what not to do. New Orleans with Steven Seagal is the first of what not to do, because it is star-driven and it brings more benefit to the star rather than the city. The next example of what not to do would be Miami the First 48. This series has become the showcase and an important resource for criminal justice professionals because they show how investigations are done. The one example of something that should be done is Miami Airport. Miami Airport shows a big drug deal gone bust all the way to a little kid running around the airport looking for his mom. But they show how they handle these events successfully. Adding boardrooms to Aurora is a reality that already has momentum, and it is a clear direction toward an attainable and feasible goal for the city of Aurora. Consequently, any economic forecast must be framed within this framework because it is Aurora's reality. Thank you for taking the time to attentively listen to my research findings about the city of Aurora. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Once again, thank you for attending this morning's breakfast and for attentively listening to my research findings about the city of Aurora and its economics. Now, I will be happy to take your questions because I know they will be thought-provoking and